Hey everyone, my name is Chris Lambert, and I talk too much about Kanye West. And today we're going to talk about Kanye and Taylor Swift because Taylor's new album Lover just came out. And of course, there's rampant speculation about does she talk about Kanye? How much does she talk about Kanye? People are already making assumptions about songs, and we're gonna check that because, well, we'll see what the issues are. The short of it, yes, but it may not quite be how you expect. So I initially found this out because Hollywood Life made this tweet saying Taylor Swift is done with her Kanye West drama. Eh. And she let us all know it on the opening track from Lover, I Forgot That You Existed, which is funny because it's like if she's done with the drama, it seems like she wouldn't make an opening track of her album about said drama, right? So you have me, who's just like, la la la. I only know how to say this in one language, but here it goes. Taylor, good God. Why are you still talking about this 3 years after it happened? And obviously, you didn't forget because here we are again, yada yada. With my little clever, douchey quip at the end. But this did get a good response here from Khalili, saying, it's not about Kanye. Stop reading these awful headlines without actually doing research, please. So I had actually looked at the lyrics before I made that comment because I didn't want that exact thing to happen for somebody to be like, did you look at the lyrics? And me go and read them and be like, oh, fuck. Like, I should have done that first. So I did do that first. And here's the thing. The lyrics are actually kind of vague. How many days did I spend thinking about how you did me wrong, wrong, wrong? So right off the bat, you could maybe apply this to Kanye. Because we know that Taylor's last album, 2018's Reputation, was very heavily, or was that 2017? One of them, was very heavily Kanye influenced from some of the imagery used, like the snake motif, referring back to Kim Kardashian tweeting the video out about Taylor on International Snake Day, which still is one of the funniest things to me. To using the snake imagery and trying to reclaim it, to having several kind of swipes at Kanye, especially on the opening single, where she's talked heavily about her reputation being damaged by the feud with Kanye in 2016. And it was kind of the first time that Taylor, who had been kind of the golden child of the music industry, had to face this kind of intense criticism, which probably was a pretty big wallop, especially if here we are multiple years later and she's still very upset with what happened with Kanye and still talks about the impact of the fallout. Usually, I'm not going to get into that now. I was going to start to psychoanalyze all of that, but needless to say, she's continued to focus on it and continue to feel that she's been wronged by Kanye. So to have this opening line of how many days did I spend thinking about how you did me wrong, 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 it's pretty easy to jump to the conclusion that it's Kanye. And then you get into these next lines. Lived in the shade you were throwing. You know, Kanye and Kim were taking some shots or throwing some shade at Taylor in 2016. So that seems appropriate. And I couldn't get away from you. In my feelings more than Drake, so yeah. Which you could see that maybe as a swipe at Kanye, because in 2018, there was that feud that was very one-sided because it was just Drake being mad at Kanye because Drake thought that Kanye was the one that told Pusha T about Drake's child when it actually wasn't Kanye at all. Or so Pusha T says, and so Drake has no actual proof of happening. But if it was or wasn't Kanye, they had that feud. And it was very like highly publicized and lasted for a long part of the year as Drake kept talking about it and talking about it. And then Kanye in December finally kind of snapped at Drake a little bit. Went on, what was it, 113 or 127 tweets? It was 127 about Drake and just other things and drama. So, yeah, I think mentioning Drake, you could maybe see that connection between the two. And that it's just Taylor, maybe just a little jab at Kanye, just reminding him that, like, yeah, Drake was pissed at you and referring to that. that he's had drama with more than just her. Your name on my lips, tongue-tied, free rent, living in my mind. But then we get into I forgot you existed, and I thought it would kill me, but it didn't. And it was so nice, so peaceful and quiet, I forgot that you existed. Which, yeah, you could see her trying to move on from the drama. And in verse 2, you get got out some popcorn. As soon as my rep started going down, down, down. We know Reputation was about her reputation going down and was heavily influenced by Kanye. So there again, it seems to reorient to Kanye after the chorus. Laughed on the schoolyard as soon as I tripped up and hit the ground. And I would have stuck around for you, would have fought the whole town, would have been right there, front row, even if nobody came to your show. And to me, my initial interpretation of this was that Kanye's a performer, but in 2018, there was that not trend, but he was canceled, right? For his TMZ appearance, for his support of Trump. There was a lot of Kanye backlash. And if he had a concert in 2018, it probably would have been just as highly attended, because a lot of Kanye fans did get the subtleties and actual context and depth of what he was saying rather than just reading the headlines. But still, there was a lot of flack, and the idea that nobody would come to a show is still kind of a viable reference to the idea of how hated he was in 2018. So you could kind of see this as Taylor saying, I would have been a good friend. Like, if things had gone south between us, she would have stuck around for him in this turmoil that he faced. And she would have been right there kind of supporting him, being a friend, even if she disagreed with some of what he was saying. But because of what happened, c'est la vie, that's not going to be the case. And you may remember in 2015 at the award show where Kanye did All Day, Taylor was there, like standing by Kim near the front of the crowd dancing. And there's that great, I can't do Taylor Swift dance moves, but there was that great like shake that she did to the All Day performance. And it was just like, oh, that's cool. They're finally getting along. Look at this. And then just the rest of the lyrics play out. But back here on Twitter, Khalil, I don't know why I say Khalil said that it was about Calvin Harris, who Taylor Swift had dated and broken up with early in 2016. And Calvin had sent some tweets at Taylor at that point, especially after Famous came out. I think it was something with not throwing out a pair of Yeezys. Like, it involved shoes, but he was clearly showing support for Kanye when Taylor was upset. So it's very easy to read these lyrics in the context of a relationship, right? Especially when you get to the chorus, I forgot that you existed and I thought that it would kill me, but it didn't. Like, I don't think she would have thought that it would kill her to forget about Kanye, right? Not at all. But Calvin, who she was in love with, had this relationship with, they were kind of a golden couple for a little while. Yeah, no, that would kill her to forget about somebody that she had loved. I think we can relate to that. And then he's also a famous DJ, right? So if nobody came to your show, she still would have been there. That also points to the relationship. And this saying, got out some popcorn as soon as my rep started going down, 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 that would be Calvin kind of mocking her when all of this shit started going off with Kanye. And then he also would have been the one that she was thinking about that did her wrong. So absolutely makes sense to talk about Calvin Harris. And with the album titled Lover, it seems like it would be about relationships, right? And why not start it off with the last kind of majorly publicized relationship that she had that I don't think she necessarily addressed on Reputation. So all of that adds up. But then we have this, You Need to Calm Down, which is an anthem that gets into a lot of people that show hate at other people, right? And the song throughout kind of focuses on different groups that show hate or cause issues, with Taylor showing support to people that are maligned. And in this verse, you set the context. You are somebody that I don't know, but you're taking shots at me like it's Patron. People do this on social media all the time. They just tweet shit at celebrities that is very mean. I've probably done that. Yeah, it's just something that we do because there's that lack of humanity that's there. So you feel empowered, and it's just easy to say something. So you feel empowered to say things that you may not have said if you were face to face with somebody, and just fire it off because it's cathartic for you to kind of get the statement out there. But it's often just not good. And I'm just like, damn, it's 7 a.m. Say it in the street, that's a knockout. Like if you said this to me in person, blast you. But you say it in a tweet, that's a cop-out. And I'm just like, hey, are you okay? So she's reading all this hatred, and she's just kind of like, what's wrong with you? And kind of pitying the person that's doing this. Then you get to the pre-chorus, which maybe you could make an argument that that's about Kanye. I think you'd maybe be stretching a bit, like that her and Kanye didn't really have a relationship, and he was taking these shots at her, and there were some tweets about her as well, and like what a cop-out all of this is. Why couldn't they just have it out in private, or just not talk to each other at all? But it seems like the vagueness of it, and given the topic of the song, it could not relate to Kanye at all. But this pre-chorus, and I ain't trying to mess with your self-expression. We know that Kanye is very much about people not silencing him, and he doesn't want people to control what he says or how he speaks. So you could also see this as a reference to that. But you also get people on Twitter that are just like, I have the right to say whatever I want. Not just Twitter, everywhere. Everywhere, people are kind of like, First Amendment, I should be able to say what I want. So Taylor just saying, I ain't trying to mess with your self-expression, kind of gets at that as well. Layers, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be one or the other. It could be, but she's a skilled enough and smart enough writer that I think she definitely knows how to layer a point, which is a point I'm going to make later. But I've learned a lesson that stressin' and obsessin' about somebody else is no fun, and snakes and stones never broke my bones. So snakes and stones probably clearly refers back to Kim and Kanye, right? I mean, this is the Kim tweet that I think is still hilarious. Wait, it's National Snake Day? They have holidays for everybody. I mean, everything these days, which was about Taylor. So when she says, and snakes and stones never break my bones, this is the drama about Kim and Kanye. And the previous lines leading up to this, I've learned a lesson that stressing and obsessing about somebody else is no fun. She has stressed and obsessed over Kanye and Kim, and has been trying to move on over what happened about that, which I think kind of leads back to the idea of I forgot that you existed. This is somebody that she was stressing about and obsessing about that was causing damage to her emotional well-being and mental health, and then she realizes that she can forget about them. And absolutely that can refer to Calvin Harris in a relationship, but it can also refer to her professional relationships. And if she's aware that she had that stress and obsession regarding Kanye and Kim on this song, is it that far of a stretch to think that maybe there's some layering here, and that while this song does get at a specific emotion, we don't get something that's as directly Calvin Harris or as directly Kanye, in that she maybe references a Calvin Harris song or references his looks or something, or Kanye more specifically, right? The way that she does here with And Snakes and Stones, which is clearly a call out that her fans and the general public will get and appreciate. So that's kind of interesting to me, because I do think that Taylor is a really good writer. I don't always agree with what she writes, but if I'm just looking at the craft of it, before she went so mainstream pop and kind of simplified a lot of what she was doing, even then, there are moments that I'm like, that's clearly well constructed or well thought out. But those early albums were doing it much more, where I was just like, this girl. But she is definitely capable of writing a song that maintains a vagueness, that it becomes like a glass of water that's either half full or half empty, and it depends on the viewer, right? And the context that they have, that it has this layer that you can view it as either or, which is cool. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting seeing how people take this. Like, is it going to play out that everybody starts saying, no, no, it's just Calvin Harris, like you're fucking up thinking that it's Kanye? Or are people going to be adamant that it's Kanye, and how could they take away that it's Calvin Harris? Like, will one perspective dominate and come to dominate? Will it kind of be 60-40, 70-30? I'm curious to see. But I do think that if you're looking for context, you can find it either way. And that the song itself is still so non-specific about who it's talking about that you could still say either way, Calvin Harris or the drama with Kanye. But with how much she's still continued to talk about the drama with Kanye, it seems to be on her mind, which could be a counterpoint to this at all, because clearly she hasn't forgotten about it. But, I don't know. I think it's curious, and I'm interested to see how the discussion goes. But if you're looking for talking points to either be for or against this interpretation that this song's about Kanye, I hope this gives you the ammunition that you needed to hopefully come to a rational conclusion that it's, who knows? Who knows? But You Need to Calm Down definitely has a Kanye lyric. So there's that. And if you have any other questions about this song, this album, or anything like that, go ahead and leave a comment down below. And if you want to support the channel, easiest way to do that is to like and subscribe. Always painful to say, but we'll be back soon with some more content. Until then, stay wavy and loopy, and cheers. Oh God, taking me so long to end the